A very good evening to our viewers watching from home. Thank you for joining us on this third installment of our election talks, where we are discussing a variety of important topics with prominent voices in the Namibian spheres, politics, academic, and everything. So we are coming live from the University of Namibia, Hifikepunye Pohamba campus here in Ongwediva. It's just on the sidelines of the ongoing Ongwediva Annual Trade Fair, and we are speaking to our audience from here. We apologize for this delay. It's a rather long one, but we will explain that in a moment. But we are happy that we have you today. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, probably on NTV2, channel 285 on DSTV. Today we are discussing the topic, fulfilling the full economic potential, rather economic and social potential of Northern Namibia. And to help us discuss this tonight is the Honorable Governor of Oshana region, Honorable Elia Irimari. Thank you, Governor, for making time. We really appreciate your presence. It's crazy time. It's a crazy week for you. State of the Region address tomorrow, Ongwediva Annual Trade Fair, the upcoming celebrations for Heroes Day, but somehow you still made time, so we appreciate your time.
After so many years, you've been looking for me to
I've been looking for you for so many years, and this time around, I was not ready to give up. Yes.
So this panel, I said, let me be here.
Yeah, yes. So thank you very much, Governor. We are also joined by Angelina Immanuel. She's a social justice activist, a very steady iron lady who has also a history of very high-level involvement in Namibian political space, having stood also in the 2019 by-election in Ondangwa there. Thank you, Angelina, for joining us.
Thank you, Toivo.
Yes. You must speak louder. Those guys must hear you.
You guys can hear me, right? No. No.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And last but not least is actually our host, Dr. Jacob Sheehama. He is the director of this campus, also together with the UNAM Oshakati campus. He's a man who has taken two campuses on his shoulders, and he was very gracious enough to host us tonight. Doc, what a pleasure to have you on the panel, and thank you very much for your kindness.
Thank you very much, Toivo, and thank you very much to the audience, your presence, and to the viewer out there.
Yeah, wonderful. And my God, this crowd is so big. I didn't anticipate this. It's our biggest crowd since we started this series of conversations. So thank you guys for coming. Yeah. Yes. Really impressive. So my only special request to the audience, to the panelists, is just to speak a bit loud. As you can see, on TV we can be heard properly, but here we need to speak a bit louder because we don't have the sound system that would have made maybe the speakers and whatnot. Let's start with Governor. So let's paint a picture. You are a doctor, ne? You are a medical doctor, and something called Oshana region is some sort of client who came to speak to you and say, look, doc, check me, check my health, check my heartbeat, my blood pressure. What kind of prognosis are you going to give to that person, knowing what you know about Oshana region?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Toivo, for, in fact, all these years you are trying to have me on this program.
Yes.
And finally this year, I was nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
But to make sure that, I come and at least, express based on the topic.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereby, the region have to exert its potential.
Yes.
To them. Yes, just come, to come to the anatomy of the question you have just asked me, what exactly I need to diagnose, if this, let's say Oshana was a human being, was a moving something, yes, it's very easy. Oshana, in fact, only need, and I want you learners and students to listen, Oshana only needs 5 key areas to be worked on, and it needs you. 1, the social economic development. Are we together with me?
Yes.
The environmental governance. It's one aspect you can ask me to explain about it. And the other aspect is human capital development, where you are currently engaged yourself now. And the other one is urban and rural development needed for Shana. Did I mention environmental governance?
Yes, yes.
I've mentioned that one.
Yes.
The other one is youth empowerment and youth entrepreneurship. Those are the 5 areas I want, if you are sick, we can do that.
Yeah.
Based on the question.
Thank you, Governor. We needed to know exactly whether Oshana can walk on his own.
Yeah.
The diagnosis is not too bad. It looks like an old lady who just came for her regular checkup, but she's not sick. Okay. So, Angelina, tell us about whether what you just heard from the governor is also your prognosis of the region. Do you think that those are your key observations also, or do you think the governor is just being economic with the truth?
Okay, I would say yes or no, because obviously the most crisis that the youth are facing, and he mentioned it, is unemployment. And they have been talking about it. They have gone to the street. They have talked about it everywhere. But as a social justice activist, somebody who addresses inequalities and discrimination in societies, I feel, and I have seen that the Namibian youth are less engaged. The youth have no idea of what is happening. The elders, especially in the northern regions, have more idea of what is happening than the youth. It is then regarding voting, regarding policy making, and attending community meetings. So this is also a crisis, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be, the government needs to adapt it, and it really needs an urgent intervention.
So you're talking about the appetite of young people into things that affect their lives, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for them to make decisions for themselves, they need to be involved. They need to be aware. They need to be informed. And that is a crisis. And that is what they are facing.
Yeah.
So that needs to be addressed.
Wonderful. We will address each of those things as we go. But Dr. Sheehama, maybe if you can tell us the role of education in addressing some of these issues. You are a transformative leader. You are an educationist. And a man of many ideas. How do we make sure that these many problems that have actually existed and persisted for so long can be resolved at least? It's not a one-bullet solution, but I suppose education can step in some way.
Yes, thank you very much, Toivo. I think when you talk about education in addressing those diagnoses provided in terms of social, economic well-being of the current and the future generation of the northern regions, or Shana alone, or Namibia at large. Through education, we can do a lot, but fundamentally, we have to strengthen the quality of our education. It means that provide quality education, and that quality of education needs good investment in education, not de-investment. It means that holistic investment in education for all. That is both at basic education and high education. Also mostly decentralizing access to education, at the same time building a national philosophy on education, because national philosophy of education is sustainability of the cultures and norms of the quality that are expected in developing a responsible and useful citizens of the country in years to come and history to come, so that that generation is left along and is not like ending when one generation had ended. So with education, we also try at transformed curriculum that try to address the new trends of the economy and the new development, so that our youth are empowered to go and empower. If they are teachers, to go and empower the future generation in knowing the better careers and the give them the skills and knowledge they require. If they are in other professions, it means that they can now trade differently other than traditionally well-known. We also have to make sure that our education system does not only produce for the domestic market, but rather for the global market. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. So, Governor, how do we youth unemployment, for example, and these young people here, the reason a lot of them came around today is also to hear the solutions, because some of them are going to graduate very soon, and they want to see some sort of path that they must walk towards realizing their dreams. In terms of really the initiatives that the Oshana region has, and I know that not everybody here is from Oshana, but you can mostly speak about Oshana, but you also know what is happening in other regions. So in other words, to make a very long question short, because there's this idea among young people thinking that our government seems to be focusing a lot on other demographics. You hear older people are getting another increment in their old age pension. You hear they were demanding 3,000 just recently, but there's hardly any talk about what government is doing for young people specifically. If you can answer to some of those perspectives.
No, thank you very much. You know, the questions, yes. In fact, the issues of youth unemployment, it's a national point, and it's also an international concern, not only to Namibia, but even globally. Yeah. Everywhere, you know, society, they are pondering about how to solve unemployment. Now, we happen to find ourselves, more especially the younger generations, finding to find themselves at a stage of whereby they are moving between, let's say, technological advance and our ways of doing things and so on, referring to digitalizations, which is, of course, a new concept or a new ventures in our. But now what we are doing, with little resources we have so far, given the advent of the climatic conditions, I also need to mention it. Yeah. We need to look at certain areas, which can contribute to a certain thing, for it not, to manifest itself. Yeah. Yes, in fact, what we have done over the years through youth empowerment, we have series of engagement with the youth, and also being carried out by different institutions of government and non-governmental organizations, and also our institutions. UNAM is a point. We have all these things. There have been, training for business entrepreneur through a program run by the University of Namibia in collaboration with the governor's office. And I cannot provide the statistics, yes, but the statistics, is over 200 something. I cannot be specific on that one. Yeah. We have been carried out, and there have been ongoing resource provisions by the Ministry of Trade and Industrializations, the aid scheme. Yeah. They've been given. Even tomorrow, we are going to give to 12, young graduates from Oshana in various areas, and also other programs from government, from the National Youth Service, for example, National Youth Council, and also Ministry of Youth and Sport. Yeah. Those of you can remember, we had a series of young people all across Namibia for them to start engaging themselves into business. And also just one assurance out of the program carried out. Others have always come back to us and say, at least they're on track. Yeah. Now, given the evolution of businesses or entrepreneurs, what they are saying is that, at least they are carrying on. Yeah. And as time goes, there's a better improvement. Or at times, there's a bit of a setback. And all of them, they will just refer saying that, at least there's a contrast in the economy. Yeah. And they all blame on the climatic conditions of our what is currently happening globally, that, they've also realized that, the effect of limited water to our nature has also an effect, to them fulfilling their wishes to become entrepreneurs, for them to be empowered in other fields and so on, and for them, to reach to their dreams.
Absolutely.
Yes, but the thing is, there are maximum programs on youth empowerment, across the region, being carried out by government, being carried out by the institution of higher learning in the region, and all these different institutions, because they invite us to their career center, career fairs, and many other programs happening within the region. So what you are saying is not that, they are not taken care of, but unless, if something I've probably mentioned, of whereby, or if they have other new areas, of entrepreneurs and social adventures, definitely they can bring them onto the table, and for us, to look at it and discuss and see to it whether it's, whether it is implementable or not.
Yeah. Wonderful. So, Ms. Emmanuel, the activist Emmanuel. So one of the challenges in the northern parts of the country is also that it is difficult to keep your best brains here. The best student, cum laude, UNAM, when they graduate, the power of this part of the country to retain these people and keep them here is not very strong. So you have people migrating from here, going to Erongo region, going to Commerce and other southern parts of the country to find jobs. How do we make sure that we maintain this critical human resource to actually drive the economy and other things here in the region?
Okay, I would want to look at young people migrating from the northern region to the southern regions. In the northern regions, there's a limit. But mostly, if we are to look at universities or vocational schools that are into northern regions, let's say UNAM, where we stand now, it's students that are doing education from different regions. But how do we keep our best here to make sure they give back to our children also? They need motivation. They need those factors. Those are the best thing that we need to look at. They also need like our learners now. Somebody who is a good student or who is a good learner on our would obviously, these people have gone through career fair and they know what they want to do. Now, for you to keep an A student to say no, you are then to go to Orongo to study. But what do they want to be? What do they want to become? Yeah. This person wants to become an engineer, so they must go to Jose Eduardo. This person, by then, if this person wants to become an accountant, or if this person wants to go to NAST, how do we keep them here? They go, young people go for greener pasture, young people go to study, young people go look for job. Yeah. But keeping them here then requires the Office of the Governor to look at things like providing land for our own people from Ogongo. So the students from Ogongo then do the crop farming, but do they have land to sustain the towns of the northern region? No, yes. So they will be forced to go work probably in South Africa, or in Grootfontein, or in Otavi. But how do we keep them here? Providing land. And as we provide land, we also need to look at different land needs and aspiration. When you graduate, you get a job, and you get land for your house in Ongwediva. It's 20% that you live because you have a house, isn't it? So if also the town can provide land to those people that need houses, then it can also keep these best students, best people into our town, into our northern town. Creating job, providing land, providing that good university for somebody not to live here, to go, because look at it, okay, I'm talking broad about the whole northern region. Let's look at Omusati to say, if I am from Rakana and I want to study from home, so where do I go? I need to come to Ongwediva, isn't it? Or do I go to Otapi to go richer? But can my parents afford?
Yeah.
So these are things that we need to look at, and these are things that the government need to look at, that they bring in incentives or initiatives to keep our best people here. So we also tap from them, and we also get the best out of them.
I hear you. I want to throw the same question to Dr. Sheehama. This factory that you are leading here and producing these brilliant minds, how do we keep them here also to make sure that the regions are not deprived of those brilliant products of yours?
Yeah, thank you very much, Toivo. I think the question is very good. And I want to say that, the University of Namibia philosophy of emancipation and having 12 campuses across the country, the main aim was to address that very problem by making sure that the youth that are aspiring for higher education get education easily in the region. At the same time, we even decentralized some of the departments which were not originally here to the regions for the purpose of really distributing human resources to the region to go and drive development there. Yeah. And I want to say for the region of Oshana and even Oshikoto partially, I remembered the University of Namibia have placed medical students and now interns at Onanjokwe and Oshakati. Those who have preferred to come start working at Onanjokwe and Oshakati, they were given through governor's office land to build. And most of them now have houses at Oshakati and in Onipa. And if you see the vibrant development that go happen there at Onipa, it's almost through that.
Yeah, yeah.
And by keeping these professional, both well-qualified teachers, well-qualified doctors and nurses, it make also another person who is an engineer to say, my child can stay here because he have access to good education, to good medication, and those things. Mm-hmm. Therefore, for us really is to say all what we do, we also engage the key stakeholders to make sure that they are bringing and really making things easier for the youth and new graduates. Mm-hmm. At the same time, culture of pedagogy is to say that we want for sure internationalization is not always to copy what is happening in the other region to say is what you bring here, yeah. But the northern regions are rich of talent. And while we have this institution of high learning is to shape this talent and mold it in a way that this talent become global products that can be required anywhere in the world. Mm. And by then, you have fulfilled the resources that you have. It's a talent that you have to shape, and the institution of higher learning is already good. For example, now we have new trends of new curriculums and new industry, oil industry, green hydrogen, and we can say we were lucky because the Faculty of Engineering or School of Engineering and Built Environment is just here in Ongwendiva. Mm. So what does that mean? For better and good training, all of this young mind are concentrating here and being shaped, yeah. Because the university is already transforming its own curriculum to address and to attend to those new professions so that our youth are not left out. Mm-hmm. And the aim is to make sure that they become successful citizens. We are never having that philosophy of just training for the purpose of training. Yeah. We are really making sure that we also engage the market to recognize that these trained youth and talents are given opportunity to prove themselves. Yeah. It's not really just to say there are many or a few. In reality, we do not have many. We just have to invest more
in creating job opportunity and expanding and industrializing our profession. Investment industrialization of all the professions. That will create more job opportunity, and it will also now drive the youth to say they make the correct career choices. Thank you very much, Toivo.
Thank you, Doctor. So, Governor, there's this thing that people like saying. I remember we are also heading into elections now. I remember LPM leader, Mr. Swartboy, at one of his campaign rallies, really not having kind words for this part of the country. He was saying that, what is happening there? There's nothing there. It's like the north is as good as a desert. What? So, you surely you don't agree with that. There's something happening here. There's potential here.
Yeah.
For business and otherwise.
No, thank you very
Investments.
much. Yes, just before I have to get into that one, there's also just, I also wanted, to complete these puzzles on the brain drains.
Yeah.
As we just have mentioned it here. And also, which will has also, to build up, based on your questions, whether does our human capital have something to say, and so on. Yes, the issues, just like what Professor Sheehama is saying, that, the institutions of learning here, they need to train people who can be global competitive.
Yeah.
And it's true, and it's happening. And given the most persistent question, we need also to learn from what others are doing globally. And many other nations, in fact, the moment if they have a higher graduate number, let's say of teachers or nurses, they basically export them to neighboring countries.
Yeah.
And I think this is also one of the opportunity. We can go and offer our services, and also we know the process of retaining something to the country. It will also add up to the economical growth,
I can't see
because given the limitations of open doors of opportunity in the country.
Yeah.
And I think that's also one thing I can encourage those, if you see that there are no doors of opportunity in terms of learning as teaching, why don't you try outside? Try outside. Even nursing, we are producing quite a lot of assistant nurses. You need to try outside. I was just recently in Onjiva. They have opened up a very big hospital. And the language being conversed from people of this part of the countries is basically what people are conversing that side. So there are also opportunities, not only just to be homegrown. Let's be like other nations who go and ventures and experience and pick up certain things and bring them back one day to Namibia.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, coming to your questions, I believe in unitary system of our governance. That I need to mention it. And definitely, a country, you just first begin with a human body. Yes, we ought to understand. I do not know if a person says there's nothing coming from, certain part of the world.
Yeah.
That's absolutely not the case. There is a certain investment which comes from a certain part and nobody feels it. And that we call it, soft infrastructures. And that's why we say, one of our strengths and one of the pillars of this part is human development or capital, capacity development. That's one aspect, we can. If it's to an invisible, there's much more coming from here. Just that some of these things are not revealed, like beef. The beef being consumed in the most part of the central part of the country come generally from the northern part of Namibia. not to mention that there's nothing coming. I mean, the energy
Yeah.
we do, and also what is currently also some cereal crops come from the northern part of Namibia. So not only that, but also to mention it that, and the biggest workforce which has carried this country come basically from the northern stretch of Namibia, not necessarily from Oceania, just referring to the northern part of Namibia. If you don't see trucks going and carrying sheep, no, they go, slaughtered. Or goats, they go slaughtered. But, sometimes it's really not healthy. If we are to talk of building a solidified, unified Namibia, it's very easy to speak, per se, but if these talks become
Inculcated, yes.
inculcated in the minds of our nations, then we'll completely forget and redirect the primary entity of this nation.
I hear you.
And that's, it sounds easy per se, but if we to ignite such a thing,
Yeah.
then I do not know what we want Larry to build.
I agree.
Namibia is a unitary state.
Yeah.
It's for all the Namibians, for us to pursue wherever you want to pursue, as long as it is not in contradictory to the existing laws of this country. Everyone, you can fulfill your dream everywhere in Namibia. It's not where you are coming from. And there's one thing is, we are not a homogeneous society.
Yeah.
That's one thing you need to understand.
Yeah.
It's a heterogeneous society, and it's an evolution. It's a process. It takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time. And that intertwinedness of our people, it's quite difficult to separate and tell us certain area is responsible for this.
I agree. I mean, there was a meme on social media last week where people said, trucks come to the north full of things, then they go back empty because there's nothing that this region this region produces. I was offended a little bit because...
let me just add up here.
Yes.
You see, the truth is, when you come to crop productions, these trucks being transporting from the north.
Yeah.
And we were told they go to South Africa, they go and be cut nicely, or they been put into package and brought back into Namibia at a more higher prices. And unless they are coming from Etunda, the bananas from Etunda, for example, and the gem product, because I've personally seen, the owners of company from South Africa who came so that, they can source the watermelons and other water-related melons product. And the seeds, making, oil-related product out of these seeds. And also one thing I need to mention, if you go around the beverage, you drink around, most of these products are coming from this part. And also this oil-related product and these cosmetic things women use, like lip balms and many others. Yeah, they are being produced here. I never knew that, we have such a, but, the only thing is that, we have small scale manufacturers, of which, they just need to be regrouped properly, either being put in a very big cooperative and, start, exporting some of these things. And sometimes they are not known. When you see these things, and it's good, institutions like ShopRite, you find them and Pick and Pay.
Yeah.
You find some of these things, which are being produced in this part of the regions. So let's really not say there's nothing which comes from. And this other international brand from Zimia seeds.
Yes,
Zimia seeds.
Zimina seeds.
Right? Yeah, Zim seeds, which is an international brand, and even from Amalura, from Udafana. And the infusion of the popular drink Amalura. We have this best Amarula, fruit, nuts, in the whole of Southern Africa.
Okay.
Yes, comparable to. And, you know, there's huge volumes of this, you know, frozen amarula going, you know, to Limpopo, to Porabawa, you know, to infuse into that amarula.
Yes.
Comes from here. And the same thing we enjoy all over around the world. They come from here, you know, and this is what we are busy as a region, because we have a memorandum of understanding with the Limpopo province, for us to see to it which any other additions, you know, from the marula trees can we do. The oil, different type, there's 6 they can, and 3 types of food they can make from those, and also that, you know, 3 different types, you know, of primary and secondary drinks, you know, from amalura we can. And, you know, it can create much of a needed employment. Let's say, you know, there's nothing, you know, that's, you know, let's say there's nothing coming from the northern part of Namibia, something is coming from here, just that people do not know.
Okay, okay. Very good point, Governor. We will be engaging the audience in a moment, but before that, I will just, I have just 2 questions for my other guest quickly. Activist Emmanuel. I see now that the affirmative repositioning movement to which you belong has been registered as a political party. I wonder if this, when you look at things around either the entire country or just the region, if there are things that you think you would do differently if these people or any other voted for you into power.
Thank you. Okay, I just need to correct you there. The affirmative movement did not turn into a party. It just registered a new wing of election. It is called an AR party.
Okay.
So there, yes. So because we existed before election and we will exist after it as a movement, so the party remains, but the movement will direct.
Okay.
So before going there, I would want to go to a part where the governor says that there's something happening here, but we don't know. Think of it in a way that, okay, we have tomatoes that are being made in, or they are being produced in a tunda. They are sent to South Africa for grading, and they come back with a high price. We have that marula that is being sent to Limpopo. Why is the government not prioritizing these companies to invest here? Why are we sending our raw materials to other people and they bring it in with high prices? Why? Because when they come here, they will then have factories, they will give us job opportunities, and that is where we keep our people here. Now to move to that, priorities that affirmative reposition as a party looks at, number 1, is the removal of the red line. If the meat is being produced from this northern part of the region, what is its contribution to the GDP? Do we see it? Now, if there is that contribution, why can't we remove this red line so that from your uncle or my father in Rakana can take this goat? You know, the market also plays a role. Can take this goat to Ochivarongo or Valvesh Bay to sell it at the 2,500, because now where they are, at communities where we are, the goats are being sold at the 1,200, at the 800. Why can't we remove this red line? Now that is number 1. Whereby if we remove the red line, we allow our farmers to be recognized, and we allow the market to be recognized, not only nationally, but globally. Because the meat, the quality of our meat, is a grade A. Number 2, there's something that young people, I blame it on either the government or young people. There's something called performance and accountability in government. We as young people do not hold people accountable. What performance is happening? Number 1, we have councillors every morning going out there and announcing there's job opportunities on the radio. How many of us as young people listen to the radio? How many, at 8 o'clock, there is an initiative at your councillor's office, you are sitting in class. Will you hear about it? But if it's written on social media, if it's shared on platforms like this, you will hear about it, isn't it? So now accountability is something that is lacking in all of us. And as an activist of the affirmative repositioning movement, that is number one factor that we must look at. And number two, the government must be more supportive on giving interest-free loans. When I talk about, there are so many policies that they got, good policies. You read it and you say, wow, this is good for the youth. But are we holding these people accountable with what they are saying? No. So these interest-free loans I'm talking about is that you as a student, let me say you, majoring into agriculture, you as an education student, you want to start up a school. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, but up until a point where the government sees you making profit, then they say, you are no more a baby, you can now walk, you are set to go. So an interest-free loan, where you get a loan, you pay back, but you don't pay back with interest until a point whereby you start making profit, you start paying back. Also, the government must establish youth program coordination and implementation unit. I remember there was a document, I just can't remember, it sits with the National Youth Council. This good documentation, looking at unemployment, but is it happening? And that is where I draw you back on lack of information getting to the young people.
Okay.
We are young people, really, really good young people who wants to be engaged, who wants to know, and who wants to do more for this country. But how do we do it? So as an activist of the affirmative repositioning, we then look at land, we look at the removal of the red line, and many more youth empowerment that we look at. And there was also, you remember, Toivo, there's a veterinary a hospital in Ondangwa and also a state hospital that is supposed to be built.
Yeah.
Up until today, these things need us to hold these people accountable. And we have nurses that are out there saying they don't have work, but there's also in Windhoek, they say a clinic that is inaugurated while it did not even start being built. These things, and as young people, we need to come in. As young people, as we sit today, where do we sit with our sport infrastructure? But we have a whole minister who inaugurated or who presented T-shirts more than rehabilitating a stadium. So where are our priorities? Where do we look at? And that is where affirmative reposition as a party looks or comes in, and AR will do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think before I go to before I go to talk, I must just provide in fairness, I must provide the governor with an opportunity.
Yes. You know, there are certain things we need to put them in a right context. And I really want you to listen to. Given what the regions can offer, and also initiative being done. And as we are saying, in fact, there are manufacturing enhancement institutions within the Oshana region. In this region, where we produce, where others are producing butter on a small scale, others are producing cream, milk, infused mahangu and rice, orusima. Probably some of you have never eaten it. It's coming from here. And also trying to infuse it with cassavas and many others, to fight hunger in the country. And they have worked best. Since these institutions are here, they are here on a small scale. And they're also careful of, you don't just start bigger if you're in manufacturing. The history have taught us, even Nestle, which is most of the product around the world, it has started on a cottage basis. And until such a time, it's tend to grow, and today it's an international institutions. Equally with institutions here, there are malura, if you go to shops, the malura are being produced here, different types. Just go around. Go to Pick and Pay, go to ShopRite, go to many of our stores. You'll find, the product we have. And even sweets being made by people from here. And so on. So, these things are there. And these people have been given loans to start with their capitals, operation, from the Development Bank of Namibia. We have the statistics at our office. They got those small loans, and now they're just in the process of paying off. The same applies to this cosmetic product, Oyetu of Meme Paulina Ndali. Ndali Nkavu, for example. She does it on a small basis. And our offices, through our international partners, we have tried to link them so that, they can start exporting their, product outside. And they're doing it. And as we are talking, statistics stocks of more than 150 oil-producing companies in this country. And, exporting. But what is needed, and let me just also ask you students, how many of you are in the chemistry division, for example? Biochemistries and so on. How many of you? There's no hand which say, yes, me. And that's why, listen here. It's fine. It's fine to speak and say, yes, we need to turn this water, osmosize it, and so on. But we don't have, the know-how. And the truth is, let's just add it up here. Somebody just mentioned here, the skills we have employed or we have taken might not match with the current demands of things, how we want them to be done.
Okay.
That's what we need to. And we need to be realistic. Yes, it's very good to be politically hedgehog on matters. But the truth is, are we really in that position to be able to transform this?
Can you not remove the red line?
Oh, the red line. No. Okay. Now the issues of the red line. Any Namibian, listen, there is no Namibian who might be against the removal of the red line. But now let me also just share a little bit, of my geography, because I'm a specialist in geography education. And we know the lines of latitude. No, I just want to bring you. Listen, I want to. And we know the zero line. That's the equator, where the sun directly hits on that line. Now, either you go Cancer or Tropic of Capricorn, you pass through the lines, Asho. From 0, 10, 15, 20, you understand that? Now, the only thing which need to be defined here is a transmission, and they call it vector disease. Now, this vector disease, those of you who have grown up in Angola, for example, Otakaya. Have you heard about Otakaya? Otakaya is an infection of worms. Now, Otakayas, they can only grow at a certain area, and that's why that particular area, it was a Congo Benengoshikombo. Why? Because those things enter where? In the hooves, even of a human being and even of. Now, given these diseases, now there are certain diseases. There are certain diseases being transmitted by certain animals too. Now, we talk of the tsetse fly, you have been taught about it, but you have never seen it before. Asho. Tsetse fly moyuva, you have heard about it, but you have never, for example, have seen a tsetse fly. It causes sleepiness, sickness. And before scientific explanation, people were blaming one another of neighbor witching one another. You understand that? But what you are saying is, the truth is, there are certain sickness within the latitudinal lines, which, at certain area, it can be of detrimental. Just like those of you having animals, grazing in Angola. And the moment they come back and you do not quickly react and inject them with oxytocin, for example, these parasite and bacteria type of infection disease medicines, what's going to happen? They will start infecting with the others and so on. Now, the thing is, what we just need to do, and we need to be open to ourselves.
Yeah, briefly, Governor.
On the red lines, I believe in that aspect of health parts. You know, we need to beef up and have more people trained in veterinary and also in awareness into our people. You know, the movement of, of animal, they call it transhuman. That one also need to be a bit more managed. And there must be stringent measures, more especially when they are coming from the other part, where the disease is more prone. You know, whereby diseases are more prone, which affect most of our animals. I'm not saying, we want, that status quo to remain there of the red line. No. Yeah. What we are just saying as a country, we are in a competitive world. We need also to beef up ourselves in terms of, for us to be more aware and put up, mechanism or apparatus to be able to control these diseases.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. So, thank you. So the last question before we engage the audience goes to you, Dr. Sheehama, and thank you for your patience, because you are dealing with politicians here, not academics. So the last question to you, Doctor, from my side would be then to say that these new discoveries in the southern parts of the country, they are talking about oil discoveries, they're talking about green hydrogen. How do we leverage as northern regions that do not have those resources to ensure that we are not left out? That resource, the governor spoke about us being a unitary state, that the resources belong to all of us, but you always have this attitude, people thinking this resource belongs to our region, it belongs to my ethnic group and stuff like that. How do we make sure that we also benefit from that?
Okay, thank you very much, Toivo, and I think it's a very important question in terms of how do we leverage. I would like to take it to the global market. You hear countries in Europe have developed, but they don't even have gold, but they have more gold than the country where gold is dug or is found. What is that? Those countries have capacitated human resources. The talented mind you see here is what they have sent out to other regions or to other countries. Yeah. And even with the green hydrogen, my dear colleagues, it's not going to take long that we are going to see the benefit of these engineers and teachers who are going to make sure that they are going to facilitate education in that new developing towns and health facility, if they are nurses or doctors. Gradually, that population will benefit. At the same time, the technology itself is to make sure that it produces energy that should be consumed and be used countrywide. For us is to mostly invest in the infrastructure so that the logistics is made easier. So we don't really have to create that hegemony of saying it's in that region. As long as it is in the Republic of Namibia, it belongs to all of us. And we should have equal access. And we should take pride in it. Anyone else who wants to regionalize that pride is a person with small thinking ability and does not want to think at national level. And then why do you associate yourself with the name Namibia if you don't want to think at that level? Therefore, we just have to make sure that with the current institution we have, here at our institution of learning, we are training, and we are also investing energy and time to make sure that our curriculum have now included those components so that our young graduates are well informed and made ready to participate in developing those new industry and expanding them to other parts of the country. That this green hydrogen is specifically there now is only now, but in the future it will expand to all other parts of the country if technology is well polished and made available by the majority. That is what I can say.
Absolutely. Thank you, Doctor. That's a very good one. Yeah. Now we are going to engage the audience, both in the room and those that are watching from home. You can also just leave your question in the thread there so that we can post it to our panelists here. We'll take, I suppose, 4 questions it would be very important if we just make them concise, short, to the point, and tell us to whom you are directing your question. Then we can do that. There's a mic, but it's not loud. It's not. It's more for television, but it will not produce sound. So you have to speak up a bit, like a proper university student. Okay, where do we start? Okay, we have 1, 2. Let's start here. Then we go there. Then there's quite a number of questions. Okay, so if you don't mind, you can stand up, sir. Then you speak to us.
Yeah, thank you. I have an opinion first and a question. My opinion is to hearing from the Honorable Governor.
Yes.
Yeah, I think government have put institutions in place, opportunities in place. Maybe what activists can do is to gather the youth to see these opportunities. Yeah, so opportunities might be in place, but the youth are not getting access to those opportunities. Now the question is directed to Dr. David. You see, decentralizing universities is one thing. So, and I think we can acknowledge our universities. We have universities all over the country. But the question is now, do universities go to the community and make assessment to say which professions are required in the community? Look, you can't have unemployed teachers, thousands, yet university is training other thousands. And even that, universities, you have some universities that are training teachers without, without proper aligning the subjects. So there are some universities that are just aiming to get that procurement from the government, because NASFAF is procuring and is catering for universities for the students' tuition fees, but they don't make that assessment. So how are universities, as far as now assessment of these careers, how far are the universities? Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Firstly, I would like to say thanks to our leaders. You know, as youth, we need to engage with you, but you are nowhere to be found. Let me put it in that way. You are nowhere to be found for real. As a governor, you are the supervision of the region. And be it administration and whatever, you are the one in charge of everything. I would like to ask you, how can the local community be involved in the benefit of decision making, and then in the process related to economic and social development? Thank you.
Let's also look at the back there. We'll do another round here. Don't worry. Yeah, we'll speak to as many people as possible.
Good evening, esteemed.
Yes.
Comrade Angelina mentioned that we have unfinished,
Activist.
activist Angelina. We have unfinished projects, hence government projects. How do we hold our leaders accountable if they are defensive most of the time? Especially the elders. They are very defensive. You just tell him, say this is how you do it, and he cuts you off immediately. How do we hold them accountable? Thank you.
If you can pass through that way, there's a hand there. Oh, okay. Good evening, sir.
Discussions. My question, I just have a few. Can I ask two? Can I have two or three at once? Okay.
Maybe maximum 2, my brother, because of time.
Maximum two. Okay.
Yes.
Only have a question. Going straight to my Mr. Honorable, Mr. Dr. Irimari. Just the question: what should we expect? Because we mentioned earlier that we are going to expect the SONA tomorrow, the State of Regional Address tomorrow. What should we expect differently than that of last year? Okay. And while I'm there, just at that point, while we are at the SONA, last year, if I should just remind or refresh the teachers here, most of them are teachers here, right? Yes, and we were told, we were talking about red line, of the red line, and the red line here, we're talking of a DVS that was supposed to be completed by last year. Still, it's a white elephant. If those that knows where Ondangwa is, you might know where it is. It's a white elephant. So we just want to know if we are to keep this, to maintain or retain the capacity here or the qualities of the youth here in the north, and we are to avoid urbanization and immigrations. What's there for us here in the north? We don't reject the name that we are called, that we are a desert. We are a desert. We are a desert. We don't produce anything. Okay, if your marula is to produce
You are wrong.
bioproducts and what? If the rain doesn't rain, climate conditions here, the Sheehama here, there are climatic conditions. How do we produce? What do we have here? We are even just unable to get that canal here in the Oshana region. We only focus on Umsati. Umsati have a tunda, yes. What do we have? Thank you.
Okay. No, there's just take that one gentleman in at the far corner there. Yeah, and then we'll answer those questions. Then we do another round. Just speak loud, sir, since you are quite far, so that we can hear you from here.
Thank you very much. My name is Kwameni Mason. Thank you to the Honorable Governor for outlining the truth that we are not producing anything. Yes, he said it on the outset. Honorable Governor, aren't you, as the head of the region, says that this product locally, we are going to produce them and stop importing them from wherever they came from, because we do have a product that we are able to produce within the country. You can go even read the economic history of the United States. They have something which they called protection of infant industry. If they grew, they would let them go to the international market. And we follow that procedure. The second question, Honorable Governor, you are the head. My sister from the AR says that the red line is incompetent. Yes, it's very well. But what is preventing us to move the red line if there is a disease coming from this side of the north? Let the red line be at the border between Angola and Namibia.
Yeah.
The problem is that I came later. I would have asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir. So let's address some of these questions first. Governor, you seem to have been bombarded with a number of them. So we'll start with you.
Yes, no, I will definitely have to, to agree that most of the informations, just what Ms. Angelina was just mentioning at the beginning, where it's clearly put the blame on the young people in terms of misinformations, whereby you lack informations and only the elderly have it. And I can attest to it. Now, let me just quickly give you what you need to know, also be mentioned here. Local community involvement, how we get into, decisions and our decisions being taken. We have a well set up structures under the second sphere of governance, which is, regional and local authority. Now, at a regional level, we have the following structures where information are being sent, being transmitted to until at the national level. They start at a community level, whereby either at village or constituency level. That's why we have the constituency development committees. That's why we have the village development committees. And it is by a policy of governance. And when it comes from village to constituency, those ideas are being taken to the regional level, to the regional development committees. They look on those proposals from ground levels and them being prioritized. And before they to be sent to a second level, which is the central government, community consultation also take place in the region. That's why you will hear councillors say, all announcing meetings that we'll be having a meeting at this center is to look at some of those ideas your community have proposed at a village and constituency level. So that process is there. You can only, if you want to channel any of your concerns, you have representatives at those different committees in our respective constituency and in the region. We have them there. Just to tell you that, and the book is also there. And also unfinished business, they were referring to the Ondangwa Veterinary Center. Yes, you are right. The place was supposed to be completed some years back, 4 years ago. Yes, in fact, what happened was the person or the contractors who was given to build that building could not fulfill the required standardization, the standard here I'm referring to, whereby you carry on with the program, as supposedly, as we have agreed. So then later on, there was a dispute between the government, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the contractor. And these things end up in court. And you cannot legally, and you cannot. This is one thing you need to learn. As students, probably in the section of the educational law, that you cannot, if there's a court case on, you can no longer continue with the same process you have been dealing with. You have to wait until the court case is finalized. You understand that? And as we are talking, 2 months ago, the court case with regard to the Ondangwa Veterinary Center has been resolved. And as we are talking now, the Ministry of Agriculture, has informed the Office of the Governor, on the current status or update with regard to that veterinary center in Ondangwa, that yes, they are just busy formalizing all the paperwork so that, a second advert can be done so that a new contractor can start commencing with that project. That's for your information. And the other questions also being posed here. What will be more different in our address or the state of the regional address? Yes. In fact, unfortunately, Professor Sheehama is the chairperson of the advisory committee to the governor on education in the region. And to inform you, most of the good things you have received indirectly or directly, has come out from our committee. National, they've benefited on NASAF and many things, but you might not know. Those who are visiting my office, they know the role he has played, about it. Now, to answer you on that one, what will be more different? Yes, what will be more different? We have called upon that, yes, that given the current schools now we have, because you will be teachers, that's the area of your interest. Given the current schools now, where they are located, it's either a clustered area, there's no more space, you understand that? And they're only adding up, classrooms. Then what's going to happen if you add up classroom? Then there will be no longer space for playground, for example. We have called for a completely establishment of new schools starting the next financial year. Yes, and also a provision for recreational facilities within the schools. Stadium for future, if money to be, let the yards be bigger so that, they can have stadiums and other, just like, our other Namibians previously, who, if you go to their school, there's a sports stadium for netball court, for hockey, for whatever. And this is also one of the calls we say we cannot. And also differently, we have called for establishment of boarding schools in the region. Like primaries, we don't have. We only have these community hostels. But we also, that would be more different. I will only tell you this because you are all teachers to be. Ne? So the rest I won't mention. You must come and listen tomorrow at the State of the Regional Address. Yes, and somebody was just mentioning of the canal constructions. The truth is, the issues of water, and I call it, climatical conditions, it requires all of us efforts, mental capacity assistance. Yes, and want you also to encourage, when you are going to teach, to encourage others to study hydrologies, because there is much more potent field. Why? This area underground we have water, but the waters are saline. And the technology is there to reverse the salinity out of it through this I cannot pronounce the word. Yes, through that word. Everybody has a disability. Be careful. Yeah, so the issues, Linda, just a moment. Yeah, the canal constructions. No, that is one of our quests, that, it be upgraded from Etaka throughout to Oshikoto region. Throughout to Oshikoto region, that is our dream, and we really want, for them to start working on it. Because we have seen the severities of water. And also one thing is that the water we receive, the quota we receive from the Kalweke Dam in Angola, we are not, maximizing it as Namibians. Why? It's because we do not have infrastructure development. And that's why we know we have been carrying on with water catchment dams and constructed in the region, but they are not yet enough. And that's why also, there's an upgradement of NAM water infrastructure throughout. Replacement of water pipes, because the old ones, they've aged. They need to be replaced by more durable, water pipes so that we can have, potable water throughout the tire. And also the installations of pump stations. That's why we have one it on board so that can, push waters this part and also this part to, to the other part of the regions and so on. In fact, effort to maximize water is on. You understand that? So something is on, but we also need you to think deeper and what alternative we can bring up, more especially with regard to water management and usage. And the last one, the last one, local product, infant. Yes, you are right. Who do not want, to produce in the country? Efforts are there. Efforts are there. Efforts are there, with regard to mini mini setup of factories around different, if you go to industrial park centers, industrial centers around Undangwa, Ngwediva, Shakati, they are busy, putting up, producing even, waters, different type of waters and many other things. At least somewhere we are on. But we also need you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Governor. Activist Emmanuel, there was a question for you, was there not?
Oh, I think there was one that says, how do we hold leaders accountable toward unfinished
Yeah, there was something about the attitude of leaders, that when young people want to hold their leaders accountable, there's this defensive attitude. And therefore, he seems to be saying it's not entirely their fault because they are trying, but they are rebuffed. They are being pushed away. Maybe it's not a question. Maybe it's more of a comment. I don't know if there was anything for Doc.
I think mine is.
There was.
There is an answer.
Yes.
Two from me.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you want to answer that.
Yes.
Okay? Okay?
So,
Yeah.
So my answer is that when you consult somebody or when you see things or when you see construction not going on, when you see things are not done your way, I think you know the answer. The answer is on the 27th of November. Your voter's card is the answer. So show them. You can be powerful also.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Was there anything for you, Doc, that was directed at you?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Toivo, I think my question was specifically on decentralization and courses that are offered by university. Whether do we consult the community so that we harmonize the programs and the professions we are producing. I like to say that the university is really open to the community and is to address the need using the potential of that community. What I can say from this discussion is that we do consult and we are always expecting input from the public. But the gentleman's quest and the question is very correct, that some of our curriculum get influenced without local content input. But for sure, the question as it is, we always now try to make sure that we harmonize based on these questions which come to us so that we train and produce specialists with the correct combinations that help them to be successfully employed in the market that is available closer to them. But at the same time, I also want to say the following based on the question. I say the youth is what we deal with every day. For us, it's without favor nor discrimination, whether of political affiliation. For us, it's really to shape a useful citizen for his community, for his organization and society. But there is that challenge of lack of interest and patience to say you have to buckle up and invest in acquiring the correct skills and knowledge. Industrialization is not a walk in the park. It needs our youth to put their heads together and write proposal. You see, how do we hold leaders accountable? We have to write letters, communication well structured, showing that, yes, this is from a responsible citizen. And for sure, I cannot afford to not respond to this person or look or consider this matter being raised in this very constructive manner. But if it is being produced uninstitutionally, informally, then you know it already creates that discontent somewhere, somehow, is gatekeeping and not correct intentions. That's why the youth, they do not need to fear, because the offices that leaders are holding are public office. That's what we say. Yes. It's not even for you to say it's always appointment. If you say, I want to go to the governor's office today, you should just go and wait for him. Yes, yes. what we have also is the patient to say, if I did not find him there, I want to find him sitting there. But at that time, he's in Okachari. Yeah, I have to wait so that I present my matter if it's a serious matter. Yeah? And our youth really, don't fear. The offices we hold, they are your office. And it's not about that we restrict you, even here at university. When people are talking about combination and products we are producing, we want to get that feedback, especially if feedback is on paper, because we have the evidence from the community. It's what you raise up and present it up. Yeah. Just the gentleman was talking there. Apart from raising that through a vocal one, put it on paper so that there is evidence that this thing is of a concern. And if you are not going to invest time in putting it on paper, it means that it's not really meant. Therefore, let's really be cognitive that when leaders are making decisions, they also take time to value, is this serious? The person have take time to invest in this to make sure that this is attended to or not. Absolutely. Therefore, the youth, we know, we are all talking about 27th of what? Of November. Yes, we are not here to influence your choices. We are here to say, as Namibian citizens, the voting is your right and your vote is your secret.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Okay. So in the interest of time, we will take one last round of questions. Let's make them short. Let's not give speeches. If it's a comment, it's welcome, but make it brief. We start with the last round.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Mine is directed to our Honorable Governor and our Pro. I have kind of a suggestion, because when I look at our professionals here, students, they are suffering so much after completing their career of education, to say, going for job hunting. Okay, is there no way that our governor can collaborate with the high institution and say that after they complete and go for job hunting, to come up with a system that allow them to do their job application online? If you happen to see the bunch of papers for even 20 posts in the region, they are making copies and they have to pay for transports and all that. They are very much suffering. Another one, there was a time that I went on the radio to make a suggestion to say that, look, our young graduates, they are suffering all because of the people who are already in the system. Why can't you change the policies? We know that each and every one has got the right to apply for a certain position or for a certain job, but for those that are already in the system, a teacher is already at Moshipandeka, he applies at Okatana, he fills that position, while our sisters are suffering at home. Can we not come up with a policy that says, if you are already in the system for this period of time, don't apply? As we are limited to say, you can only apply from 18 to 35 for civil servant positions. Something like that, please, if you can, and to say, you colleagues can maybe put it in writing as our process, so that our leaders can take us serious. I know you are suffering, or to say you will be suffering. It's only now that NASWAF is providing for you, your parents are providing for you, but once you complete, what will happen? I thank you.
Yeah, good evening to the panel of discussion, everyone present. So I had a question based on what the Honorable Governor said about having actually the government's effort to Yeah, to set up mini factories and industries. Now, I was suggesting, isn't it possible for our country to switch up to become to the import substitution strategy, whereby for like products that are manufactured in the country, they will be substituted to those that are imported, so that we can at least protect the infant industries in the country from outside competition, and in this way we can create youth empowerment through entrepreneurial development, and this way at least to create a little employment in the country, and for our government to at least fund this small scale industries so that they can become large scale industries to at least provide these products that they manufacture for the whole country. And in this way, we'll be killing at least around about 3 to 4 birds with one stone.
Thank you. My question is directed to the governor, honorable governor. When it comes to youth, the mic. When it comes to youth entrepreneurship, young graduates and individuals seeking funding with viable and registered businesses, how can the Office of the Governor help these individuals get at least funding with least or no collateral? That's the question.
Give those colleagues, there's a hand there. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Good evening, everyone. Mine goes to the regional governor and also to the director of the campus. Okay. Doctor, you stated that the aim of the university is not only to produce quality teachers, but also to ensure that they are successful. How is the university planning to reduce the high rate of unemployment? And also, to the governor, we have a serious case like in Oshana, whereby we have like these learners that do shifts. Like, I remember last year when I was doing my SPS, I was at a certain school whereby students used to do, not but learners, like do shift. Like some attend like in the morning and others attend like in the afternoon. So my point is, like we have a lot of graduates that are unemployed. So now my question is, when last did this governor officer like constructed like a school or perhaps something to just to reduce this high employment rate? Since like we have more learners and high unemployment rate.
Good evening, everyone. My question is posed to Dr. Sheehama. Since we have high unemployed graduates, are there any implements that that your university has put in place to follow up on those that graduated from their universities? And if they are, how do you guys do this? How do you guys put them in place? Thank you.
Yeah, I think that should be, I think under the circumstances, that should be the last one. We will engage the governor and the panelists that are here.
Angelina brought the crew with.
Yeah, please proceed, Governor.
Yes.
Let's just.
May we just have your attention, please? You know, I'm talking like a teacher because I'm a teacher by profession. Yes. You see that I have to be naturalistic to yourself, and at times to beat around the bushes might not really provide you the relevancy you want to be. But, looking at the questions you are all posing, many of you are living under wimpy, not the wimpy service station, being wimpy, feared. You fear. You fear the unknown. That's also one thing you are creating to yourself. And also, she just mentioned that seems to me information is a bit more misdirected to many of you when I listen to questions. Yes, now changing of policies, changing of what? There are legal instruments, mechanism to be followed if you need something to be changed. You cannot just say, Governor, do this. Follow the due process of initiating that, change you want it to be affected. Even the import and, import restrictions, protection infancy policies, they're in the country. But if you feel like that, that act does not provide for your needs, then definitely, why don't you move? Give something to us, we'll be able to see, those who are responsible for enacting and ensuring the implementations of new laws in the country. And that's why we finally talk, of elections. I don't want to mention this one. Yes, and also the other one is the business registration and funding. Yes, we have. BIPA was never in this region. And believe me, I've seen somewhere in Nongwediva, I could not recall exactly where they are busy putting up, signboard. That is, this is the BIPA office, whereby young people, you can go and do your business registration. Just like, currently this year, they've registered close to 227 in the region. Young people who have registered, only young people. I'm not referring to, above age or, elder, younger, upper youth, no. I'm just talking to young people. They are close to 200. So the institutions here, we've made sure that it's here. And, with regard to funding and support, these things are being announced morning, more especially at the beginning of the year. Credit schemes being announced, either from the National Youth Council, either from other organizations, and from the Ministry of Trade and Industries, and also, some bank. I was just reading. Bank Benduk also has a credit scheme for non-collateral. I think so, for the young people. So these are some of the things you need to explore, and that's what I say. Let us really not create a wimp nation. Let's inform ourselves, and also let's stand up. If you want to carry on with something, don't look back. Just keep on pushing. You will be able to be there. Because with life itself, nature, you people have read, you have heard of Charles Darwin. Have you heard about Charles Darwin? Survival of the fittest. That's also life is all about. If you are not standing up, my friend, you might not be able to get. Do you know why? The opposite of laziness, whereby, okay, I don't want to mention that one. But, there's a person, even to complete a paper, just one page, just to complete his name and address, might take him a week. Yes, I've proven these things, and I've proved to you on some people who cannot. So sometimes, it is ourselves. If you are not self-igniting, might not be able to get things what you want. It's easy to, to daydream, but, to act. Actions is what requires you. People can only see you when you are acting. If you're not acting, how will you be able to get the things done? So sometimes, let's have, personal reflection of ourselves. Is it just idealistic, or is it, supported by my actions?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I might not, but you just encourage me for us to relook at one of the programs we did carry it on, more especially on business training, and also other program with AfriSources and institutions, which also look at, young young people in terms farmer to business and
Digitalization.
Digitalization. Hey, some of these new words, they give me problems. Yeah. Some of these things. I mean, these are some of the things we can, and we can formulate and work out on some of these programs.
Absolutely.
But there are those who are benefiting who are seated here. They do benefit from visiting our offices, and we link them to other institutions. They are here. I don't want to mention them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think is last word. 30 seconds.
As the governor says, and you realize that fear is the worst disease that we all have. And I've also presented it to you guys in 2019 when I stood as an independent candidate. The aim was to awaken a generation of young people to be into power. And that without that fear, I personally see young people into power taking up these offices. And that is one of the things that I also get over my fear. And another thing is, as an activist, activists are not paid people. Activists are people trying to awaken you and alert you on social and issues of the nation. So you and I can all be activists, and let us embark into this journey whereby we give information to each and every Namibian to awaken and drive them into a good nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Sheehama, you have the last throw of the dice.
Okay.
As our host.
Yeah, thank you very much, Toivo, and the audience, which was calm and very interactive. I just want to say what was presented here and the question asked, they will not just be left here. And that's why we are thanking Namibian Sun, which have chosen to come to the youth. It is a choice that have managed to mobilize the youth to meet the regional leadership, both activists and the Honorable Governor. It's a great thing. And you have made this talent here in the North to their voices to be heard all over Namibia and beyond. I think that is what first I have to thank Toivo for doing that greatly. And you have to give Toivo a round of applause for that. A colleague, somebody here just mentioned in innovation, and this is idea we have to take credit, give credit where it's due. Somebody saying after online application. Yes, it's a fact. These are the idea that we have now to take up and take them through so that they get proper policies and procedures and infrastructure. What infrastructure is required? Because you will still have a child in Congo who will have no access to that information. That's why investment needs to be procedurally done, but it should not be left unattended too. It should be taken up for another level, but it's very serious input. The policy in terms of do we follow up on our graduate? Yes, we do graduate surveys, and their employability is a key to our curriculum at University of Namibia. But what was mentioned by the gentleman there is true that university can control to say we reduce the number of intake. The moment we reduce, the smaller one will increase their intake. Have we done justice to the nation as a government standardized university, or injustice because we are now forcing them to go and be trained in smaller institution, which is now just making play of their entrepreneurship? That is what you have to look at. It should be at a national level where a decision will be taken, but this communication are already being presented and discussed as such. With that said, I say the fear is not to threaten you. Yes. You should not fear of the employment industry. Yes. You should work hard to be well trained and skilled so that you should consider yourself a top product who any employer will want to take without any interview. That is what we should look forward to. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, no, so thank you very much. First, Honorable Governor, after 5 years of chasing you, I have managed to nail you down, and today I gave you a lot of trouble, but I was not ready to give up today. So thank you very much for making time.
Thank you.
My sister, such a pleasure always talking to you. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for your bravery to face these people, these young people, and inspire them. Doctor, we can't thank you enough for, first and foremost, hosting us here, because the most difficult part about this kind of job is to secure this kind of spaces. It's such a struggle. So Dr. Sheehama, when I texted him, I emailed him formally. He told me the procedures that I must follow. I followed those, and within a matter of minutes, he had responded positively. A very effective, transformative leader. I cannot thank you enough, Doctor. But to the audience, you guys, I swear to God, you are the best ever. So you must, yes. Because you have defeated the universities in Windhoek who have given us a very small crowd, and we appreciate those that showed up. But you have shown that you have interest in the future, in your future. You have interest in listening to voices of reason as to how you must traverse, how you must navigate this very tough journey towards the crossing line that you are aiming to reach. So I get very, very inspired when I see young people that are interested in issues, because we are in a time when a lot of young people are really interested in very unproductive things. So you have separated yourself from that pack, and I am so, so grateful for having you around. So thank you very much, and give yourself one last round of applause. So finally, we are signing out. I just wanted to also say that there's been a lot of mention of me, but these are the guys who do things. My colleagues, Sylvanus, Tia James, Kenya Kamboe here, Toivo Njdebela, Meme Megi, and the rest of the crew. So thank you very much, colleagues, also for making this happen. But yeah, we are signing out. Thank you. There's Meme Megi, please talk to your audience.